Hi there, I am Rachel, and today what I would like to do is kind of a walkthrough on how I color in tufty fur, which I'll be using this picture, which comes from the Coloring Book Cafe Dogs and Puppies coloring book, so you can find this either through the PDF or the hard copy. This picture is also in the 100 Cute Animals book, so you could either get it through the Dogs and Puppies book or the 100 Cute Animals book, and you can get either the PDF or the hard copy to do this picture. So I'm going to do probably a lighter fur tone, and I'm just going to show you how I achieve a more tufted kind of a fur look. There's a lot of different looks you can do for fur, so that's the style that I'm going to go for today. So let's just get into this. Okay, so for this picture, I'm going to be using the Arteza Expert Pencils, and I'm going to probably just be sticking with the I want to say it's the 72 pencil set. My particular style of coloring oftentimes uses a lot of different shades in similar tones, rather than using the same pencils over and over and over again. So the first thing I'm going to do for Tufted Fur is I'm going to take kind of the most medium tone. For this I'm going to be focusing on this dog right here, and I like to start with kind of a mid-range, and this one I oftentimes adapt my picture as I go. So my idea is this dog is going to be somewhere between a tan, caramely, cream color and maybe a cinnamon color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start off by kind of outlining and highlighting where I want specific tufts of fur to be, and I'm also going to give some different things. So like I'm planning on having this be like a wider area. So I'm just going to start off, and to do tufts, what you really want to do is just kind of highlight the tufts with individual hairs. So if I'm going to start off here, I'm just going to start highlighting where I want those tufts of fur to come in. And like I said, I do kind of want this neck area to be a little bit white, so I'm going to bring that down and kind of highlight out. Where I want the white fur to kind of be. And so as you see, what I'm doing is I'm following the guidelines of the original picture here. And then I'm kind of clumping the hair as it is, how it would kind of grow. Because, you know, if you look at fur, hair, and stuff like that, it grows out and then it kind of clumps together. And that's really the idea behind tufted hair, is that it's kind of growing and then clumping together to create a very soft look. And if you see, I'm just doing really short, quick pencil strokes here. And if I do a light enough layer on this first area, I can kind of decide how I want the rest of the dog to have variance in the fur, whether it's got creamier patches or redder cinnamony patches, or things like that. So I am going to keep it pretty loose on this first pass of the dog, just to kind of give an idea of what I want. Okay, so now that I've kind of just kind of given a base to where and how I want to color the fur on this dog, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to make this a lighter dog, is I'm going to start blocking out some of the areas I want to be lighter with a white Prismacolor. And you can try and use like the white of the Arteza or the white of whatever pencil set you're using. Now, Prismacolors do have some unique properties, which is why this is kind of my go-to effects pencil. I use the white Prismacolor for a lot of different pictures, and I mix it with a lot of different pencil sets, and that's because it's very waxy, it's very soft, and it's also very opaque, which means that I can color the white over some areas, and it'll actually show up more than if you just use the standard whites in a lot of pencil sets. The whites do very little. So this is a very effective white pencil. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to block out areas in white of the fur that I don't want to take a lot of color, and this will help it to be a lighter color in the end. So I'd like to get some light around here. So I'm going to block most of this area with the white pencil. So you're not actually going to see it, but I am coloring in the area with this white to get that lighter. So I am just making sure that I get a good, I'm going to bring this down here a little bit. I'm making sure I get a good all-round white coverage for this area that I want to be much lighter. And that's just that area around the neck. Then I'm also going to go in and I'm going to do it, I'm doing this as a Pomeranian. You can pick a different breed, like maybe a Shiba Inu, something like that, but I see this as a Pomeranian. So areas where I want the fur to be a little lighter, I'm going to block it off with basically a layer of white wax that will prevent the color from really going into the paper the same as the rest of the areas. I'm going to do a little around the nose area too. I'm not going to fill in the whole area here. Just get that area around the nose. And then you can also use it to do highlights where there might be a gloss or a shine. So I'm also going to do it a little bit here where there would be a little bend in the paw. And I'm just going to add a layer of white, which again, you're not really going to see it at this stage, but just to give a little bit of a gloss. And then it's also nice to do it kind of at the edges where you might get some light going through the hair at the edges. So I'm going to outline the dog just a little bit in this white blocking. And then sometimes I like to do like a little forehead shine too. So I might add a layer of white in there so when I color the forehead it gives it a little bit of a gloss right up there as well. And then think of most of the other dog is going to be under, so it's going to be more in shade. So that's the areas I'm going to add the white to. Okay, so my next step here is going to take this camel brown, which is between a golden yellow and a brown color. And I'm going to kind of highlight now more the main areas of the dog. So we start up here on his forehead. And again, I'm going to keep it doing strokes rather than actually coloring coloring it in solid. And as always with this, I'm going to be kind of shaping the areas, the direction the hair would grow, which like I said, this is kind of a tufted dog, so the hair is going to grow in tufts. And then I do the pencil a little heavier where I want it to be more shadow. So where there's lighter, I'm going to do a few less lines, and then where there's shadow, I'm going to go in and do a few more lines. And again, try and keep the tufts, try and keep shaping those tufts the same, even with subsequent layers of different colors. Just keep going over those tufts and try to keep the lines in the same direction. And if you notice, I don't always go through the whole thing. I'm leaving like little white areas, so I can keep that as shine later, or I can deepen that and make it more shadow. But right now, I'm still kind of in the planning stage, so I don't have the dog completely planned out. So I'm getting these base layers of color in without completely covering, and then I can make decisions later on of how I want the light and the shadows to fall on the fur. So you notice I do a lot of really short strokes at the edge so that I'm not getting a full hair at the edge there. And this part is the white part, so I am actually going to do a lot less of the color, just a hint in there. And as I get to the bottom of the dog, it is going to be more shadow. So there's going to be less shine when I get down here than where the top areas are. So you can see I'm doing the shade a little bit with just the base color. So I'm not necessarily using a shadow color to do the shade. I'm just making a more full color in than where I have it sparser, where it's less shade then. And I'm very purposefully leaving defined lines. So there's some areas where it's more colored in, even though I'm coloring it in with lines. And then I do some harsher lines, and I want those harsher lines to stay there. So that it does give that impression of hair. And because this area is more underneath the dog, I do want to create that the shadowing foreshortening that you get to give it more of its proper shape. If you don't do the shadows properly, where a creature or an arm or limb or whatever is foreshortened, it can make the picture look odd. So you always want to make sure you get the foreshortening parts darker, because it usually is in the shade when it's like that. I'm just going to go through here and darken up some of this under area. Do you notice I still keep those whites? I will never go fully all the way through until later in the end, so that I can keep my options open for how light and dark an area I want it to be. But I'm doing both the shadow underneath some of these tufts in here, and then doing the shadow of the ends of these tufts here. So